My sister's grades are quite strange. I scored 650 points. She scored 660 points. I rushed to 660 points. She immediately scored 670. His score always beats me by 10 points with precision. But if I take leave to skip the exam, my sister's grades instantly became a complete mess. My suspicion was thus completely confirmed. My sister's grades are tied to mine. Use this as a starting point. A crazy plan took shape in my mind. If I score above 740 on the college entrance exam, what will happen then? On the eve of the college entrance exam, I fought desperately like an ascetic. The younger sister is a pleasure seeker. He relies on me as her backer. His authority was lawless. He even gave up his studies to travel with friends. Every time I get caught, he was all throwing his face with impatience. My sister rolled her eyes. He slammed his phone onto the table. Are you annoyed? Don't worry. The top scorer in a college entrance exam is definitely mine, and I didn't betray his trust. Every mock exam even firmly placed him at the top of the grade. I want him to live a drunken life in the false clouds. And behind the scenes, I was steadily closing in on 741 points up. The second semester of senior year felt like a dull knife. Bit by bit, it cuts through my nerves. Get up at 5 a.m. every day. Go to bed at midnight. In between, besides eating and using the restroom, rest of the time I spent all my time doing exercises. I put myself locked away in that little room where sunlight never reaches all year round. Like a machine that never stops singing, operating precisely. My sister's room was right next door. From time to time, laughter echoed from video calls between him and friends, or exaggerated exclamations while watching a show. Sometimes he deliberately turns the volume up high. It was as if he was showing me how reckless he could be. Don't care. I had long learned to block out all noise. There was only one voice looping in my mind. The number 741 felt like a nail stuck in my heart. Whenever I want to give up, press heart. The pain keeps me awake. In March, Chen Ching Ching started coming and going in my room frequently. At first, I didn't pay much attention. Thought she was just looking for something. Later, I sensed something was wrong. The way he looked at me changed, with a sense of scrutiny and probing. Once I was working on the final math problem. She pushed the door open and came in, stand behind me. I stared at my scratch paper for a long time. Elder brother, why have you been working so hard lately? I didn't even pick up my head. Keep writing. It's okay. The college entrance examination's coming soon. How could I not work hard? Chen Ching Ching leaned in closer, trying to see clearly what I wrote. But you've never fought this hard before. I chuckled in my heart, yet his face remained calm. Deliberately sighed. Put the pen down. He put on a tired look. Wasn't it all because of his parents' pressure? He said if I didn't get into a 985 university, they'd cut off my living expenses. What can I do? Chen Ching Ching's expression relaxed. A trace of mockery even appeared at the corner of his mouth. You're the only one who still calls 985. She turned and walked away. Before leaving, he didn't forget to add another blow. Don't get too tired. Anyway, in the end, the top pick is mine. I looked at his back. No words. Once the door was completely closed, only then did I pick up my pen again. A gentle smile slowly curled at the corner of his mouth. It's good to keep this disdain. The more you look down on me, the safer I am. But Chen Ching Ching's vigilance hadn't completely disappeared. In the next glance, he began to check on my review progress both openly and subtly. They asked me which subject was the hardest. They asked me how much I could get on the mock exam. Sometimes, they even deliberately say hurtful things in front of me, trying to shake my mindset. I respond to every move. Every mock exam deliberately controls the scores. Never let yourself stand out too much. Maintain a top 5 position in the grade. It is neither conspicuous nor conspicuous, but it wouldn't make him a real killer copper. I keep it in my heart. Those are the most difficult question types. Those trickiest tricks I only practice alone late at night. After finishing tear the scratch paper and flush it down the toilet. Leave no trace. One night, I was buried in practicing competition questions. Suddenly, he heard movement in the living room. It was her mother and Chen Ching Ching talking. I quietly opened the door a crack to eavesdrop. Grain, has your brother been pushing himself too hard lately? I saw him locked himself in his room every day. He didn't even come out to eat. Chen Ching Ching smiled dismissively. Mother, are you worried? How far could he possibly cross his cross together? Anyway, whatever score he scores, I can score 10 points higher than him. The harder he works, the higher my score gets. Yes, my daughter is still smart. Then, let him fight. Perfect for working for you. I listened to these words, grinding his fists. His nails dug deep inside, but on the surface, I remained calm. Gently closed the door. Keep working on the problems. One night in April, I was still in my room practicing exercises as usual. Suddenly, he heard faint noises outside the door. I perked up my ears. It was footsteps. She was very afraid of being discovered. Then there is the sound of the doorknob turning very slowly. Instantly realized he was secretly watching me. I didn't look back. He continued pretending to focus on his problems, but in fact, I had already put down the test papers in my hand. It was replaced with a regular basic problem. Those truly difficult materials. I've already locked my lips in twitching. Thin crack opened in the deepest part of the door. I caught a glimpse of half of Chen Ching Ching's face out of the corner of my eye. She was observing the things on my desk. I deliberately sighed, muttering to himself, why did he get this question wrong again? It's too hard. Then closed the notebook, lying on the table pretending to rest. The door crack quietly closed. The footsteps gradually faded away. I straightened up, sneered. Chen Ching Ching, The more wary you are of me, the more it shows you're guilty. You know better than anyone else. Those scores aren't yours. You're just a parasite. You are nothing without me. May mock exam. Scored 695 points. Ching Ching 75 points. First in grade. On the day the results came out, he celebrated wildly at home. His parents cared for him with care. He praised him for bringing honor to the Chen family. The table was filled with his favorite dishes. I sat quietly in a corner eating rice. Like a transparent person. My father put down his chopsticks. He looked at Chen Ching Ching with a face full of satisfaction. Ching Ching performed well this time. Halt. The college entrance exam is secure. My mother chimed in. A hint of pride was hidden in his words. My daughter is smart, and don't even look at whose genes it is. Chen Ching Ching glanced at me with pride. Mocking smile curled at the corner of his mouth. You have to keep going. Don't be too different from me, otherwise it would be embarrassing for the parents. I responded without arguing. Bury your head and continue eating. But inwardly he was sneering and enjoying himself. Enjoy. This is your final highlight moment. That night, I lay in bed tossing and turning, unable to sleep. He kept replaying the 2 days of the college entrance exam in his mind. Anything that could happen. The June college entrance exam arrived as scheduled. The night of June 6th, Chen Ching Ching went out to drink with friends. They said it was an early celebration. Not only did my mother not stop her, he even slipped her a coin. She said her daughter had worked hard and wanted to relax. I watched this scene through the crack in the bedroom door. There was no emotion in his heart. I just feel ironic. And that day I went to bed at 8 o'clock. The alarm was set for 6 a.m. the next day. Lying in bed I was unusually calm, like a swordsman waiting to be drawn. All the endurance will be rewarded tomorrow. The next morning I woke up on time. After a few simple bites of breakfast we headed out. Her mother took Chen Ching Ching to the exam site. He just brushed me off and said, "Do your best on the exam." I nodded and didn't say much. I thought to myself, anyway, this is the last time. In the future, our well water will not invade the river. The exam site was in the old teaching building of the school. It was placed by the window on the 3rd floor. Sunlight just right to shine in. I sat down and arranged the stationery one by one. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes. He silently recited Chenmo in his heart. You waited 18 years for this day. Chinese exam bell rang. I opened the test paper. At that moment my mind was clearer than ever before. Every question feels as familiar as an old friend. Every pitfall in reading comprehension. I had anticipated it in advance. The essay prompt is exactly the type I've practiced countless times. Write as if inspired by a divine spirit. After finishing the Chinese exam, walk out of the exam room. Chen Ching Ching rushed over to block me immediately. She wears delicate makeup, but there was a barely noticeable trace of panic in his eyes. They asked me how I did on the exam. It's okay. Chen Ching Ching frowned and pressed for more information. How good is that? How many are you wrong on the multiple choice questions? I looked at him. Suddenly it felt a bit amusing. He was checking how many points I had scored. It's easier to calculate your own scores. I don't know. No answer. Chen Ching pouted. I was very dissatisfied with this answer, but he didn't chase after the spies anymore. Turned around and left. I watched her back. I thought, why are you in such a hurry? Anyway, the results will be out tomorrow. You'll be worried when the time comes. Halfway through the math exam in the afternoon, there was an accident. Suddenly my stomach hurt violently. Maybe the food eaten in the morning wasn't clean. It could also be due to excessive stress. Old sweat broke out on his face. He lay face down on the table for several seconds before recovering. The proctor came over and quietly asked if I was okay. Do you want to go to the infirmary? I shook my head and gritted my teeth, saying it was nothing. Are you kidding? I waited 18 years, just waiting for this exam. Even if I die, I will die. This paper. I pinched her thigh hard. Severe pain. It made me briefly forget about the discomfort in my abdomen. Keep working on the problems. Those numbers and formulas blurred before my eyes for a moment, but I insisted on relying on muscle memory. Complete every single question. The last finale. Used 3 methods to confirm everything before putting down my pen. As he walked out of the exam room, I was almost exhausted. I found a secluded corner and came down. It took a long time to recover. Chen Ching Ching massaged me, asking how I did in math. I replied with 2 words, normal. She replied instantly. A look of pride. Clearly he thought he was steady again. Looked at that expression. I just think it's ridiculous. The ignorant are fearless. That's probably the kind of person I'm talking about. The next day I took the comprehensive science and English exams. My condition has mostly recovered. These 2 subjects are my strengths, especially science comprehensive. Those physics questions. Chemical inference of biological inheritance. All of them are types I've watched countless times. I make it as smooth as the clouds and water. There was still 20 minutes left. I double-checked every question during checks. Make sure there are no mistakes. Not to mention English. It's hard for graders not to give high scores. Finish the last section. Walk out of the exam room. I stood at the entrance of the teaching building. Zhu looked up at the sky. The sun is dazzling, but I didn't hide. Just stunned. He stood there in a daze. Let the sunlight shine on your face. After 18 years, I finally made it through. Chen Ching Ching was the first to rush over and block Jiame. She was dressed especially brightly today, like a proud peacock. A glint of greedy light sparkled in his eyes. Asked me how I did. Good. Better than ever. This generation has never been this good. Chen Ching Ching's eyes lit up instantly. It was as if I saw mountains of gold and silver. She turned and ran. Ask your parents to take credit. My parents and my brother said he did really well on the exam. Then I would definitely be better. Watching his joyful back, I laughed too. That smile is the smile hunters give when they see their prey caught in a net. Chen Ching Ching, do you know what you look like right now? Like a moth leaping into the flames. I thought it was the sun. The summer vacation after the college entrance exam. Chen Ching Ching completely let herself go. She confidently promised her parents that she would rank in the top 10 in the province. A huge amount of pocket money was prepaid in advance. Not only did he replace all his phones and computers with top-tier models, and even took the money his parents had worked so hard to get, he went out with a bunch of shady friends to splurge around. Moments update daily. It's all about eating, drinking, and having fun. I have no idea how to write the word death at all. One night, I saw his post on Moments. It was a photo of dining at a high-end restaurant. The caption reads, future top scorer, celebrating early. A bunch of people liked and commented below, what Ching Ching, you're amazing. Hurry and treat us to a meal. I looked at those comments. It just feels absurd. But I want to go back to the countryside to see my grandfather. Ask your parents for travel expenses. Before she could finish, her mother comforted her and brought her back. My mother didn't even pick up her eyelids. His tone was very perfunctory. What to see? There's no money at home. Didn't you see Ching Ching needs money? I stared at his self-righteous face. A wave of disgust welled up in his heart. He doesn't give me a cent. He spent money like dirt on Chen Ching Ching. This is my parents. Father sat on the sofa watching TV. Without even turning his head, he added, if you want to go, just figure it out yourself. Don't count on your family. I didn't say anything more. Turned around and went back to the room. Early the next morning, he went out to a construction site and found a job carrying bricks. Sun is deadly poisonous. The sun made people dizzy and blurry, but I gritted my teeth and worked hard for half a month. Only then did he have enough money for travel and to buy things for Grandpa. That half month was one of the hardest days of my life. After half a month, I collected over 10 yuan. That's enough for the return bus and to buy some supplements for Grandpa. On the day of the score check, how is Chen Ching Ching's 18th birthday coming of age ceremony? To be in front of everyone, crowned with this the brightest moment of his life. He held an extremely lavish banquet. Ounce and ounce. All my parents, colleagues, and leaders were invited. Inside the banquet hall, compliments came one after another. A distant relative approached my father holding a wine glass, his face beaming with smiles. Lao Chen, your ancestral grave is smoking green. Both the twins are so successful. Another Chin Wai chimed in. There was a hint of bitterness in his tone. Oh, the eldest son is just a dead boy who doesn't understand his studies. Ching Ching is still considerate. Good grades, sharp wit. Stronger than his brother by 100 times. The younger generation admired Chen Ching Ching like a star, adorned by the moon. One cousin was so envious her eyes turned red. Ching Ching, you're amazing. This is the admission letter from Tsinghua and Peking University. Hunt in Hunt, the handsome boyfriend. It's simply a winner in life. Chen Ching Ching wore a custom-made haute couture gown. Her makeup was flawlessly exquisite. If it's among the top few in the province, the Tsinghua and Peking University admissions office will call ahead to snatch candidates. The words just fell. Sure enough, the phone rang. But the call wasn't her phone. It's mine. To the staring of the entire crowd, Ko Kai, I answered a call with a single hook. Qingda Admissions Team Tsinghua and Peking University admissions office. There are also admissions officers from several top universities. I politely thanked him. He said he would consider it carefully. Chen Ching Ching's eyes were about to burst. Stared intently at his silent phone. She forced herself to save face. Gritting his teeth, he squeezed out a pack. The best always make the grand finale. Finally, the score inquiry channel opened. Everyone rushed to urge Chen Ching Ching to log in. I quietly clicked into the search page in the corner, even though he was confident. But when the score was checked, palm was still slightly sweaty. My mother turned to ask me first. He casually asked me how much. I showed my phone screen to everyone. He said calmly, I scored 741 points. The audience was in an uproar. I suppressed the surging joy in my heart like a child's waves. Expressionless. It were. I really succeeded. Mother was stunned for a moment. Yin Yin nodded. He didn't even glance at it again. He turned and lunged at Chen Ching Ching. Her voice trembled with excitement. Today is definitely enough. Chen Ching Ching was completely surrounded with no way out. No one could find a gap to hide. She pressed the confirm button with trembling fingers. The next second, her face froze. Her expression was so striking it looked like she had swallowed a fly. 3 bright red numbers 751 appeared on the screen. Chen Ching Ching's voice was trembling. The surroundings fell into a deathly silence. There was a distant relative who didn't know the truth, still closing his eyes to praise. Definitely stronger than my brother. Exactly 10 points higher. Truly a prodigy. Voice in the crowd weakly broke the awkwardness. If I remember correctly, the full score for the college entrance exam seems to be only 750. Chen Ching Ching panicked. Cold sweat. Apply exquisite makeup all over the place. It must be a system failure. There are too many people checking scores. Before he frantically refreshed the page, the handheld crank is about to ruin the screen. Once or twice, 3 times that damn 751 is like a nail, firmly stuck in the total score. Someone suggested trying a different phone. Is it a cash issue on the phone? Gently grasping at a lifeline, snatching someone else's phone. The query result is still 751. That extra 1 point. It was like a huge slap landing his face. At this moment, the banquet hall door was pushed open. Several staff members was in uniform. He walked in with a serious expression. The lead staff member looked around. He asked in a deep voice who is Chen Qingqing. The Education Examination Authority monitored the scores. The score was extremely abnormal. Suspected malicious system attacks or major fraud. Please come with us. Investigated. Chen Qingqing was so frightened her legs went weak, directly collapsed on the ground. Her face was deathly pale, like an old lady. Saying the scene, he panicked, but their first reaction was not to comfort their daughter. Instead, it was instinctively trying to find a scapegoat. In a panic, my mother actually pushed me out, pointed at me and shouted that he was the one who did it. He must be jealous that his sister hacked into the system. Changed the scores. Comrades, you arrest him. This has nothing to do with my daughter. Here we go again, these are my parents. At critical moments, he didn't hesitate to use me to block the way, even if it's a reason absurd and laughable. Even if the logic doesn't make sense, as long as they could protect their precious daughter. What am I, a sacrificial animal? The heart is completely dead. Instead, it felt incredibly relaxed. I shook off my mother's hand. He coldly watched this group of clowns. Not a hacker. I am the top science scorer in the province. Silent. The one who achieved the human miracle score of 751. It's me. My father, furious, rushed over to slap me. I grabbed his wrist in one swift motion. The fierce look in his eyes made his heart race. You dare to touch me. The staff were right behind me. I am now. Qingbai was eager to take it. The media rushed to report it. This coming-of-age ceremony, originally meant for showing off, it completely turned into a farce. Chen Qingqing was taken away to cooperate with the investigation, leaving behind a mess. This is simply not a good cover. A shocking 751 points in the college entrance exam. Yuzefan college entrance exam. Surprising 751.C. Q75 points followed up with a spike bar. £7 went viral late at night. Jinwang is watching and waiting for the latest drama. There is a complete explanation of the appetite and the spirit of the momentum. This is probably buying points and getting hype. Some people ask if cheating can be a bit more brainy. Full score 750. Additional level 751. Full score 750. You scored 751. He was regretting and insulting the grading teacher. Someone softened Chen Qing's social media account. Aixian has been eating, drinking and having fun everywhere for the past 6 months. He hardly learned to punish at all. The discussion was overwhelmingly attacking Chen Qingqing. Ji Bianheng's bow to the Emperor Chen Qingqing. Everyone thought she was using connections to change her mind, but I accidentally changed too many things. I scrolled through those comments. There was an indescribable sense of relief in his heart. It's been 18 years since I waited for this moment. Waited 18 years. Yi. The investigation results came out quickly, and Qingqing's answer sheet was abnormal. The multiple choice questions were baffling. Scans 1 point more than others. This leads to a total score overflow. To be fair, the Education Bureau decided to activate the backup paper. Let him weigh it alone. The news reached home. Chen Qingqing was lying on the sofa, scrolling through her phone. Hearing about retakes, he jumped up all over. His face instantly turned pale. What does it mean to retake the exam? Why should I retake the exam? My score is real. There was a system problem. My father sat to the side. Face was blue. He scolded in a low voice. You keep your voice down. The neighbors could hear it. My mother was anxious and pacing in circles. On one hand, and felt Chen Qingqing while discussing countermeasures. Qingqing, do not panic. If you want to retake the exam, then retake it. You're so smart. Surely no problem. Chen Qingqing seemed to have gone mad. At home, they throw tantrums, fight, cry, and shout. He insisted on dragging me along to take the exam. No way. There is no brother. I don't examine it. Let him come with me. I want him to sit next to me. He rushed over and grabbed my arm. Fingernails stuck into the flesh. His eyes were frighteningly red. Shenmo, you have to bear it with me. Did you hear that? I shook off his hand. He said coldly, I've already taken the graduate entrance exam. Why should I accompany you to retake the exam? Chen Qingqing was stunned, looked at me with eyes full of disbelief. It seemed she never thought I would reject him. His mother immediately rushed over to take sides. I looked at them. I find it both ridiculous and sad. What does it mean to have the whole family's reputation? That was Chen Qingqing's reputation. It has never been my concern. I refused. Then he turned and went back to his room. Lock the door back. No matter how much people knock or curse outside, it won't work. In the end, under Chen Qingqing's supervision throughout, taking the exam all by myself. The exam room was set up at a meeting room of the municipal bureau. Surveillance cameras operate 24 hours a day. 3 proctors watched him the whole time. Afraid he might pull some trouble again. As expected, he ended up sloping badly. Retake total score 157. It wasn't even as high as the ones he usually guessed for blindly. He already had a foundation of 300 points. For the past 6 months she's been busy with dating. Dream of being number 1. I haven't even read a book. On the day the results came out, I was carrying bricks at a construction site. Received a message from a classmate. He said, Chen Qingqing scored 157 points on the retake. I was stunned for a moment. Then he smiled and straddled the ground, not getting up for a long time. My coworkers thought I had heatstroke. He hurriedly handed me water. I waved my hand and said it was nothing. I was really happy. This retake directly exposed her flaws. There are 751 in front and 157 in the back. Huge contrast caused Oron to completely lose control. Netizens' comments are more exciting than the last. Some people say, ha ha ha, 157. This is the truth. 730 yuan. Some say that's practical. The previous 751 was definitely a fabrication. Someone even made a meme, put 751 and 157 together. The text goes from heaven to hell. A rerun is needed. Chen Qingqing couldn't stand the online abuse, trying to show off the report cards from before senior year. Prove yourself. But the all-knowing netizens dug up everything. His progress in the past 6 months of senior year has been strange and remarkable. Previously all the 300 were just hopeless ones. Everyone was even more convinced. This girl has been cheating since her senior year of high school. By the way, netizens even dug up my report card. From elementary school to high school, every major exam result is dug up. Only by consistently ranking in the top 3 from childhood to adulthood is a true academic achiever. Steady like an old dog. Some commented, are they really siblings? Why is the gap so big? Some even say one is 750, the other one doesn't even qualify for 250. I looked at those comments. My heart is mixed. I once thought, good grades earn your parents' approval. In their eyes I will never compare to Chen Qingqing, the teacher and classmate who once held Chen Qingqing. Seeing him now feels like seeing the acne god. Even when his parents go out, they get pointed at and gossiped. Neighbors were gossiping behind their backs. He said the Chen family's daughter turned out to be a fool. Cheating has fooled everyone for so many years. It's really embarrassing to lose home. That time, Chen Qingqing huddled in her room afraid to face anyone, like a rat crossing the street. The curtains were drawn tightly. Even his mother delivered meals to his door, unwilling to meet with anyone, and I was holding the admission letter from Tsinghua and Peking Medical School. I packed my bags and went back to my hometown to be with my grandfather. You have to wait until the end of August to start the semester. I was completely free. That's what I thought. The countryside summer is as hot as a steamer. I feel at ease in my heart. Grandpa's old house was at the foot of the mountain, a 3-room house of ruined earth. In front of the door stood an old locust tree. Small talk, but not annoying. This is my true home. I've been left here for as long as I can remember. Parents praise the good name, saying the sun is more down, the air is better, suitable for nourishing the body. In reality, he just disliked me, wanted Chen Qingqing to enjoy all the love and resources alone. One more me means more competition, and she never spoke ill of my parents. He just silently took care of me. He taught me to recognize you and read, so I have to rely on myself to be a good person. The phrase he said most often was, studying is the only way out for children from poor families. He engraved this sentence into his bones. I stayed in the old house for more than 20 days. Every day I get up early to help feed the chickens to Gigi. In the morning I read in the courtyard. In the afternoon I accompanied him for a walk in the fields. He told me about the past, talking about how mischievous my dad was when he was little. Told me how diligent my mom was when she first married into the family. I listened to these unfamiliar memories. At night I sat under the locust tree to cool off. One night, we sat in the courtyard to cool off. The moonlight was bright. Yi suddenly asked me, how did the college entrance exam go this time? It should be good. Yi nodded. Nodded. There is light in the pig's eyes. He looked up at the moon and the sky. There was silence for a while. It's good to say it's good. He sighed. His voice was a bit hoarse. Lord Ji has nothing to achieve in this life. I'm counting on you. I bowed my head. My nose tingled a little. Only he sincerely wishes for my well-being. Wait for me to get into college. Once you're working, I'll take you to live in the city. He waved his hand, smiling like a child. I can't get used to living in the city. As long as you have the heart, that's enough. At night, I lay on the earthen kang bed of the old house, listening to the insects chirping outside the window. He thought he would wait until it was completed, and the results were completed. Everything is settled. I will let everyone see it. Silence is not a useless person to be bullied, nor is it anyone's stepping stone. August 12th. There was just over half a month left until the new semester started. In the yard helping to dry corn step by step. Baskets of golden corn cobs, and collapsed onto the bamboo mat. Suddenly the phone in my pocket rang. It was the mother's number. I checked the rankings. He almost never reaches out to me first. He answered the phone. Xiaomo, come back quickly. Your dad suddenly fell ill. It's almost over. My heart sank suddenly. The dustpan in his hand nearly fell to the ground. What patient? In which hospital? The mother just cried, not answering my questions. He kept saying he'd be back soon and then hung up. I stood where I was. Her mind was in complete chaos. Grandpa came out of the house, seeing my expression. Asked what's wrong. I explained the situation. His expression also changed. Urged me to pack up and go back quickly. No matter what. That's your father. You'll have to go back and take a look. I nodded. Inside, I hastily stuffed a few pieces of clothing into my backpack. Before leaving, Grandpa chased after her. He stuffed a cloth bag into my hand. He said heavily, take it. This is Jaiji Kun's emergency use. I opened it and took a look. Inside was a pile of wrinkled coins. There were also a few $100 bills. Altogether, it was about 20 yuan. Was the one selling eggs and vegetables, gradually accumulating retirement money. I wanted to push back, but he had already turned and entered the house. See, Xiang's figure looked especially thin inside the door frame. I was carrying that cloth bag, heat in the eye sockets. Takes 2 hours by bus from the village to the county seat. It takes 3 hours by train from the county seat to the city. The city then switches to high-speed rail. The whole trip takes nearly 10 hours. I bought the nearest bus. Sitting on the bumpy bus, the scenery outside the window sped by, but his retreating mind began to calm down. There are too many things that are off. The mother's crying was too exaggerated as if acting. But he never said what illness his father had. He didn't say which hospital it was in. He didn't even mention the specifics of his condition. He just kept urging me to go back. If the illness is truly critical, he should have said that your dad is at a certain hospital. You come quickly, not just come back quickly, coming back and forth. If the person is at home, and is being resuscitated in the hospital. How could he have time to stay home and call me? And his tone, with an indescribable urgency. That kind of urgency didn't seem like she was worried about her husband. It was more like they were afraid I wouldn't go back. The more he thought about it, the more restless he felt. I called my father's phone. Another busy lane was played. Still reconsidering the busy line, he called a colleague at his father's workplace. Did something happen to my dad? The other party's tone was very strange. Last week I even treated everyone to a meal. Very good. What's wrong? It's nothing. Maybe I heard it wrong. He found a random excuse to hang up. Sure enough, I leaned back in the seat, staring at the continuous fans outside the car window. The weight in my heart was lifted. It's not that I'm cold-blooded. I know this family too well. The father is truly critically ill. Chen Qingqing had already been crying and wailing online. Tai Shubo sympathized. It is impossible to have no movement at all, since it's a scam. What was their purpose in deceiving me to go back? It took me hours to figure out this question. The answer is clear. Chen Qingqing's incident has caused too much trouble. That 751 joke still trends on social media to this day. He couldn't get into a good university even if he repeated a year, cause I didn't notify the festival, and I was about to go to Tsinghua or Peking University to start a new life, completely free from this quagmire. They won't allow this to happen. In their eyes, the only value of my existence, it was just a stepping stone for Chen Qingqing. Serve as tools like blood packs. After figuring this out, I actually wasn't worried anymore. Since you want to act, then I'll play along with you. But in the end, I wrote the script. On the train, I used the money my grandfather gave me. Bought a cheap backup phone. I bought another power bank. Fully charged both phones. Downloaded an automatic upload cloud-based video recording software. Tested 3 times. Make sure nothing goes wrong. I also sent it to the university freshman group. A few future roommates I met. Sent a message, a brief explanation of the situation. If they can't reach me within 48 hours, just help me call the police. And shared real-time location with them. Be prepared. Damn bro, your family is so complicated. We're here for no reason. Don't worry, if something really happens, we should pay attention to safety immediately. Stay in touch at all times. Looking at those messages, a wave of warmth welled up in his heart. Strangers are willing to help me, and so-called close kin. But you want to push me into the fire pit. This world is truly ironic. By the time I got home, it was already the evening of the next day. The setting sun dyes the old buildings a fragrant yellow. I was dragging my suitcase standing downstairs, looking up at the one I lived with for 12 years. But there's never been a place where I feel a sense of belonging. Take a deep breath. Go upstairs and knock on the door. Door opened and my mother's face appeared at the entrance. The eyes are red. It was as if he had just cried. When he saw me, he was the first to be accustomed to it. Then he immediately put on a flattering smile. Oh my little M.O. back. Come on. Come in. His enthusiasm was abnormal. It gave me goosebumps. When has he ever been so diligent with me since I was little? I quietly entered the house. His gaze quickly swept across the living room. My father was sitting on the sofa watching TV, was still holding the remote control. Her complexion was very rosy. There was no sign of being critically ill. I stood at the entrance. Her hand was still holding the suitcase's handle. He asked calmly, "Wasn't it said my father was critically ill? How to watch TV at home?" The air in the living room froze for a moment. The smile on my mother's face froze for a moment. His expression was a bit awkward. He immediately looked for Claw. It was a false alarm. Why is your dad feeling so miserable? But later when I went to the hospital for a checkup, nothing serious happened. We thought you'd be going to Qingzhou for school. I just wanted you to come back and hang out together. It's a family. The words family came from his mouth. Particularly ironic. I didn't expose him. Just nodded. He responded. He took off his shoes and entered the house. The corner of the eye is still bright. He caught sight of Chen Qingqing on the other side of the sofa. He curled up in a corner, in pajamas. Messy hair. The face is sallow. There were 2 dark patches of bruise under his eyes. And a few months ago, that proud and spirited daughter of heaven? It seems to be 2 people. See me come in. She looked up. The eyes are complicated. There was resentment inside. There was fear. And there was something I couldn't understand. I pretended not to see it. He went straight back to his room to drop off his luggage. My room is in the innermost part, a few square meters. There is no sunlight all year round. When I was little, this was the storage room. Later, I returned from my grandfather's house to school. He reluctantly packed it up for me to live in. Chen Qingqing's room faced south. The master bedroom is spacious and bright. The allocation of resources in this home, it's always been this clear distinction. Closed the door and began inspecting the room. Desk, bookshelves, wardrobes, under the bed. Make sure nothing has been tampered with. Then he took out the spare phone from his backpack. He found a hidden angle. He placed it in a pile of miscellaneous items on the bookshelf. The camera was aimed right at the door. Enable recording mode. Set to mute. Make sure there are no prompt sounds during recording. Finish it all. Lay in bed on a vacation. But his ears were firm, capturing every movement in the living room. For dinner, my mother prepared a table full of dishes. For the first time ever, he called me out for a meal. Give me back the vegetables. Xiao Mo has lost weight. I'm about to leave home. Eat more. I eat so much that I don't even know the flavor. His mind was filled with analysis of what they really wanted to do. When will you show up and brush your teeth? For the meal, my father coughed. Clear the noise. It was as if he was about to start lecturing. Xiaoman, this time I'm asking you to come back. Actually, there's something I want to discuss with you. I picked up my head. His face showed just the right amount of confusion. That is true. Well, sister hasn't been doing well lately. You know, too. The college entrance exam was a huge blow to her. He was now deeply depressed. He didn't even want to leave the door. I discussed it with your mother. You are his brother, and also the person closest to him. Can you spend more time with him? Enlighten him. I waited for them. The map is exhausted, and transformation is revealed. That's it. Sure enough, my mother took over and hung up. There was a hint of probing in his tone. Yeah, Xiao Mo, you two are twins, a boy and a girl. They are family members as close as blood as water. Broken bones and tendons. Help your little sister. What's wrong? I still didn't respond. Just look at them. The atmosphere was tense for a moment. Chen Qingqing suddenly picked up her head. She looked at me with red eyes. The voice was crying. Elder brother, I know I was wrong. All right. During this time, I have come to understand myself. It was all my fault before. I shouldn't have done that to you. Can you give me another chance? I almost laughed out loud. His acting skills have improved. It's a pity that I don't eat this set. I asked them what they really wanted me to do. He tore off that layer of window paper. I don't have the patience to practice Tai Chi with them. My father and mother exchanged a glance. It seems to confirm something. My father finally laid his cards on the table. That's how Mo is. We came up with a solution. It could help Qingqing attend school too. I raised an eyebrow, signaling him to continue. Qingqing told us about his college entrance exam results. That 10-point rule. You should know better than we do. There is a very special connection between you two. As long as you're here, he could achieve high scores. My heart skipped a beat. He actually revealed the secret to him. My father stood up and walked over to me. There was an undeniable tone in his tone. So I discussed it with your mom. See if you can delay a year and repeat a year at Tsinghua or Peking University. Next year I'll take the college entrance exam together with Qingqing. When the time comes you will too. You can get into a good university. Our family has two from Tsinghua or Peking University. It is certainly not about bringing honor to the family. Was stunned. Not because they were shocked by the absurdity of this request, but was shocked. They made this request with confidence, as if this was only natural. It was as if sacrificing my own future to help Chen Qingqing. It is a matter of course. Mother seized the moment and came over to hold my hand. A calculating glint flashed in his eyes. Xiao Mo doesn't do you any harm either. You're so smart. I'm sure I'll get in next year. By then he would have the reputation of being the top scholar, plus the effort of repeating a year. Tsinghua and Peking University will definitely be eager to get you, and Qingqing will have a bright future too. Our family of 4 will all succeed. Isn't this a great joy for everyone? What a happy ending. I have already received my admission letter. Why do I want to repeat a year? My father waved his hand dismissively. What is a notice to me? If that thing isn't reported, it's automatically voided. Xiao Mo, you're the older brother. What's wrong with letting my sister have a point? Even when Qingqing succeeds in the future, she won't forget you. You get a share of the money you earn too. I heard the funniest joke in the world. I disagree. Words fell. The atmosphere suddenly dropped to freezing point. His father's face darkened. My mother's expression also became stiff. Chen Qingqing suddenly grabbed her head. My father stood up, looked at me condescendingly. His tone carried a threat. Mo, what kind of attitude is that? Let's discuss it with you properly. Why did you refuse so outright? I also stood up and looked them in the eye. I said there was no negotiation about this matter. Yulu is because of this matter. There's no room for negotiation. Want me to give up Tsinghua or Peking University, accompanying someone who only scored 157 on the college entrance exam after repeating the year? Then I used my scores to get him into a prestigious university. Why? My mother shrieked. Because he is your sister. You are a brother. Helping my sister is only natural. Helped him for 18 years, from childhood to adulthood. You give him all your resources, leave me in the countryside and ignore me. Now he is courting his own death. You all remember me. Let me clean up his mess for Xing. My father slammed the table. The bowls and chopsticks jumped up. Enmo, what's your attitude? What attitude? With this attitude I won't do it. I turned and walked toward my room. A hysterical scream came from behind Chen Qingqing. Shen Mo, what right do you have? Those points of yours were meant to be mine. Without me, what are you? I stopped, turned around to look at his twisted face. Chen Qingqing listened carefully. I wrote those points stroke by stroke. It has nothing to do with you. You can take my points. It is your creation. It's not your ability. Nor are you the one who has the right to trade for my chips. Chen Qingqing was left speechless by my sneeze. Tears burst forth from his eyes. It was unclear whether it was out of anger or anxiety. Shen Mo, you've made your sister so angry. You still have a conscience. His mother rushed over to block his way, pointed at me, and scolded. I asked him if they had any conscience. Couldn't be bothered to argue with them anymore. He entered the room. He locked the door behind his back. Outside the door came the sound of smashing and banging. And then there was his father's angry scolding. The mother's crying and complaining. Chen Qingqing's scream was mixed in as well, like a pot of boiling porridge. He leaned against the door panel. Close your eyes, listening to these words. But inside he felt surprisingly calm. Tonight is just the first leg. The real contest is yet to come. I have a hunch they won't give up so easily. By the time I had patience, that night, I didn't sleep. Eyes stared at the ceiling. The ears remain alert at all times. Around 2 a.m., I heard a quiet sound outside the door. It was as if someone was speaking softly. I held my breath and listened carefully. It was my father and mother. My mother's voice was very low, but I still heard it clearly. How about we take advantage of his sleep? Take his stuff. No ID card or notification letter. I'll see how he leaves. Look, the lights in his room are all out. Definitely asleep. Let's make a move tonight. I do not wish to have too many dreams at night. Steps approached the doorway. My heart raced, but his body didn't move an inch, pretending to be sound asleep. The doorknob gently twisted once. I was glad I locked the door. Outside the door came his mother's low curses. This kid even locked the door. Forget it, we'll talk about it tomorrow. He can't run away anyway. The footsteps gradually faded away. I opened my eyes, staring at the ceiling in the darkness. I sneered in my heart. It was not as I expected. They never intended to let me go. From the moment I stepped through this door, I fell into their trap. But What they don't know is, I was ready for it. It's still uncertain who will win or lose this bogan race. And the next morning, I tentatively tried to turn the door handle. The door was locked from the outside. I chuckled in my heart. He walked to the window and looked outside. Outside the window is a security bar, welded tightly. I can't get out at all. The phone signal was still on, but the network signal was cut off. I used traffic data to send a message to my roommate to let them know I was safe. Tell them it's fine for now, but things didn't look good. Keep them on standby. Around 10 o'clock, the door lock rang. My mother came in carrying a bowl of porridge. His expression was a forced smile, not a genuine one. Hungry, eat something. Have you figured it out? I didn't take the bowl. He placed the porridge on the table. Sighed. There was a hint of threat in his tone. Xiao Aomo. Mom gives you a piece of advice. Those who understand current affairs are considered outstanding talents. Even if he got into Tsinghua or Peking University, so what? Who pays for tuition and living expenses? Thinking we'd give you a penny. By then you won't even be able to afford school. Still, he had to obediently come back. I looked at him. No words. He saw I was silent. Thought I was shaken. Continued to increase the weight. Is your admission letter still here? Not necessarily. If you are obedient, read it again for another year. Next year we will fully support you. If you are disobedient. He didn't finish speaking, but the meaning is already clear. I still didn't say anything. After he left, only then did I realize the door fork was locked. From this moment on, I was formally placed under house arrest. On the first day, I was able to stay calm. The next day, he became restless. Not out of fear. It's because time is passing bit by bit. The start of school is getting closer. I had to find a way to get out for 3 days. I decided to take the risk and give it a try. 2 o'clock in the morning. Everyone is asleep. I quietly got up, used the file part of the nail clipper to pry open the door lock. This old-style spring lock is not difficult to open. It took me about 10 minutes. Finally, a soft click was heard. The door opened and I held my breath. Step by step, he moved outward. The living room was pitch black. I felt my way toward the front door, feeling my way against the wall. His heart was pounding so hard, it was about to burst out of his noisy eyes. The floor beneath his feet occasionally made a faint creak. It didn't ring once, so I stopped to listen for the commotion. Only after confirming no one was there did he continue forward. Right in my hands, just as he was about to touch the front door handle, the light came on and I froze completely. I stood at the corridor entrance. Don't even think about running out of this home in this lifetime, unless you agree to repeat a year. I was lying on the ground. The whole body is shaking, not out of fear. It is because of the rage of debt. 18 years of endurance. At that moment it was as if it would burst through his chest, but I went to Ninja Street. Now is not the time. My evidence is not enough. My backup plan isn't in place yet. I was dragged back to the room and thrown onto the bed. The door was locked again. He also added a new lock. This time it was the kind hanging from the outside that couldn't be pried open. I was lying in bed. His back burned with pain. That kind of pain actually made me more alert. Enmo, why are you in such a hurry? You've waited 18 years. Not bad these days. Let them be proud for a few more days. Once you've gathered enough evidence, none of them can escape. In the next 2 days, I'm safe to guard myself. No longer trying to escape. It's time to eat. Time to sleep. On the surface, it seemed like he had accepted his fate. My parents thought I had been convinced. He was a bit more lenient with me, but the door was still locked. I still can't get out. I used these 2 days. Pay close attention to their schedules. Remember when everyone goes to bed. Then to start. I kept all these details in mind, waiting for the best opportunity. On the night of the 4th day, they finally got it. 2:07 a.m. I heard the door lock gently ring. It was that kind of probing sound. Someone was unlocking the lock. Closed my eyes. Breathed steadily, pretending to be asleep. Every nerve was tense. The door was pushed open. The footsteps were very soft, as if afraid of waking me. It was 2 people. Judging by the rhythm of your breathing, one is the mother. They reached up to my desk. Start rummaging through things, maintain a sound sleeping posture. But my heartbeat involuntarily quickened. I know what they're looking for. ID card and acceptance letter. 2 things are the keys to leaving this hell. They are also the leverage they used to trap me. Old Chen couldn't find it. Where do you think he was hiding? The search lasted for several minutes. I heard my mother's low voice. Father muttered impatiently. If you keep looking, it'll definitely be in this room. He couldn't take it out. They rummaged through the desk, Tunny. I rummaged through the bookshelves in my backpack. He even touched the pockets of my clothes. I felt someone walk to the bedside and stand for a while. Must be hesitating about whether to flip through my pillow. Suddenly, a third person's voice came from the doorway. It's Chen Qingqing. Did you find it? Shh, don't wake him up. Chen Qingqing walked in impatiently. Her footsteps were much louder than her parents'. Obviously he didn't care at all whether it woke me up. I felt him standing by my bedside. He looked at me with a scrutinizing gaze. His gaze was as cold as a venomous snake. I could almost feel it. His breath blew against my face. Then his voice rang out, bold and resolute. What to pretend? I know you're awake. I didn't move, still keeping my breathing rhythm. But in his heart he was cursing. This madwoman is truly frighteningly sharp. Qingqing didn't keep pestering me. Was I awake? This question. Instead he joined the search on his own. Her actions were much rougher than her parents'. Things were thrown in a mess. The books on the shelves were tossed to the ground one by one. Kuni was dragged out of the entire passage. My ID card. I hid it in the inner layer of the pillowcase. I folded the admission letter into a very small piece. It was sewn into the lining of the suitcase. I thought they wouldn't find it, but I underestimated Chen Qingqing's madness. He threw my pillow open. Then he started feeling for the pillowcase. Inch by inch he touched it. That method was like searching for drugs, not missing a single blind spot. When he touched that mezzanine layer, his hand stopped, then let out a surprised scream. Got it. My heart tightened. But still, It didn't move. Then he lunged at my suitcase like a wild beast that has gone mad. Pour out everything inside. Then they started tearing the lining. The sound of fabric being torn was piercing. His nails slid along the lining. Finally he touched that hard thing. Finally couldn't help it. He suddenly sat up. He reached out and pressed the bedside lamp switch. The lights flashed brightly. Everyone who was stung narrowed their eyes. I saw the scene before me clearly. Father and mother stood at the desk, holding my ID card in my hand. Looked a bit guilty, but even more so it was more justified. Chen Qingqing stood by the suitcase, holding an envelope in his hand. That was the envelope for my admission letter. The expression on his face was as if he'd found a treasure, greedy for dreams and excited by excitement. I stared at them. Voice was icy cold. Asked what they were up to in the middle of the night. What are you doing in the middle of the night? The three of them looked at each other. So he simply stopped pretending. My father slapped the ID card on the table. He spoke with full confidence. Chen Mo, we won't beat around the bush with you anymore. Qingqing told us everything. As long as you're here, you can achieve high scores. This is the fate between you siblings. Just accept your fate. Mother came closer. His eyes were filled with calculation and threat. Xiao Mo, listen to his mother. Repeating a year won't hurt you. You're so smart. I'm sure I'll get in next year. By then, Qingqing will also be in school. Our family has produced 2 prestigious university students. Isn't this a win-win? He hadn't said half of it. I got up wanting to get my ID card back, but his father pushed him aside. His strength was greater than I imagined. I ran a couple of steps and bumped into the wall. Wound on his back was painfully struck by the impact. Father's face moved a little closer. His tone was chilling and threatening. If you don't do it, you think you have a choice. From today, don't want to go anywhere. No ID card. No notice. You can't get to Tsinghua or Peking University. You could only obediently stay home and repeat her studies. When you finish your exam next year, everything is business as usual. You should go to your own Tsinghua or Peking University. No one has held you back at all. It didn't delay me from repeating a year. It completely disrupted my life plans. Let me become a stepping stone to a waste. This is called no delay. I took a deep breath, suppressed the surging anger. Now is not the time to tear your face. I need more evidence. Between them, tonight I'm here to confiscate my things. My mother sneered. No longer just covering up. What is it called? Confiscation. Things at home are managed by the parents. You're still a child. An ID card is such an important thing. What's wrong with keeping it here for safekeeping? I looked at Chen Qingqing. He was pulling out the admission letter from the envelope. His face showed a sense of revenge and satisfaction. He held up the notice sticker, like holding up a trophy, and then he did something I will never forget. He held onto that notice slip. His eyes burned with mad hatred, and then, right in front of me, he slowly and forcefully tore it in two. The crackling sound was crisp and piercing. It was like the sound of something breaking. He was not satisfied yet. The two halves continued to tear apart, until it turned into a pile of fragments, falling to the ground like snowflakes. His movements were slow. It was as if she was enjoying the process. With every tear, the corners of his mouth curled up a little. I looked at those fragments. A brief moment of emptiness flashed through his mind. That was something I had earned after 12 years of hard study. It's the result of countless days and nights of practice. It was the starting point of my new life. Just like that, he tore it apart. Chen Qingqing looked at my expression. He laughed like a madman. The notice was gone. Let's see how you register for it. Chen Mo, you can only be my stepping stone for the rest of your life. I want you to stay with me in the mud. The more he spoke, the more agitated he became. His whole body was trembling. With disheveled hair, he looked like a ghost. Why are you better than me? Why does everyone praise you? Why should you be able to go to Tsinghua or Peking University? Could only be laughed at home. Clearly those points should have been mine. Tears were already streaming down her face. But it wasn't a grievance. But it was unwillingness. It's extreme, it's madness. But at this moment, his voice suddenly dropped. It was as if he was talking to himself. It was also as if he was speaking to me. Do you know how scared I am? From childhood to adulthood, I knew my grades were fake. It was stolen from you. I live in fear every day. I'm afraid if you don't take the exam, I'll be finished. But I'm afraid if you fail the exam, you'll be exposed as useless, he said tearfully. It me hate that I'm smarter than him. It's ridiculous. He actually thinks I don't need anything. Just that high score. I hate myself even more. Without you, I am nothing. So, you can't leave. You have to stay. Must always be my stepping stone. That way I can survive. I looked at her. For this person I've called my sister for 18 years. For the first time I felt she was pitiful. But sadness is not a reason for me to forgive her. Nor is it an excuse for him to ruin my life. Father and mother stood to the side, watching Chen Qingqing's demeanor. Surprisingly, not a single person stopped him. There was even a hint of approval on his face. It was as if he had done something truly satisfying. I watched this scene. Suddenly, it felt absurd. It's also sad. This is my family. This is what they call blood thicker than water. Lowered his head to look at the fragments on the ground. Her shoulders began to tremble. They thought I was crying, thinking I was breaking down. Mother let out a laugh. His tone carried a condescending pleading. What to cry about? The cross is not a big deal. Just take it again next year. This time, let's treat it as a lesson. Be more obedient from now on. I didn't speak, only Tan's lower body. With trembling hands I picked up those fragments. Chen Qingqing looked at my wolfish face. The smile on his face grew even more uninhibited. Cry again. You deserve this fate. I picked up my head and looked at him. He was stunned, because there are no tears in my eyes. All that remains is cold hatred, and a fleeting smile. He was startled by that laugh. Instinctively he took a step back. What are you laughing at? I slowly stood up. His voice was hoarse but calm as he spoke. Nothing, I'm just thinking. Your performance just now was brilliant. If you can't make it in in the future, he could become an actor. I didn't say anymore. Instead, she pretended to be desperate and slumped by the bedside. His eyes were hollow. He muttered to himself, finished. It's all over. Chen Qingqing looked at me. The vigilance on his face gradually faded. Instead, there is the pride of the victors. Now I know I'm afraid. Why did you go early? Father snorted coldly. He put my ID card into his own pocket. Come on. I'll go back to sleep. From today, this kid can't even think about going anywhere. The three of them seem to have completed some kind of mission. Walk out of my room. Before leaving, my mother locked the door from the outside. The sound of the door lock dropping was very soft, but it was like a thunderclap striking my heart. I was locked up. The room plunged back into darkness. I sat on the edge of the bed, listening to their footsteps fade away. Listen as the house returns to silence. Then I stood up, walked up to the bookshelf. From the pile of miscellaneous items, he took out the backup phone that had been lit up red. They didn't expect it. They searched the entire room, but they forgot to check the pile of junk they thought was trash. The video captured everything. Chen Qingqing's madness when she tore up the notice. Her parents watched coldly from the sidelines, even the face of fans fanning the flames. They personally admitted to the conspiracy. All of it is in this video. I uploaded the video to the cloud. Backup ensures absolute safety. Then I edited a short version, posted on the internet. Caption: this is the original family I want to escape from. After sending it, I dialed the explosive number and said, I need to call the police. Was illegally detained by my family. The operator asked for my address and basic information. I answered each one. He said he would send someone over. Let me wait. After calling the police, I put my phone on silent and hid it back in a pile of miscellaneous items. Then lie back down on the bed. The heart beats fast, but on the surface you must remain calm. Don't know how long it will take for the police to arrive, nor is it known what will happen before that. But I know. Just get through tonight. Everything will be different. Time passed, minute by minute. The sky outside the window began to brighten. My eyes remained still, staring at the ceiling. Her ears caught every subtle sound in the house. 4:23. I heard footsteps. It was Chen Qingqing's. Her steps were light. It was as if afraid of waking someone, but in the quiet night, it was still clearly audible. He stopped outside my door. I held my breath, not moving. The door lock rang. He came in again. I closed my eyes and pretended to sleep. Heartbeat in my ears sounded like drums. He walked over to my bed and stood there for a while. I could feel his gaze falling on me, with scrutiny and skepticism. Then he started wandering around the room. The sound of footsteps sometimes fades, sometimes nearer, like a beast patrolling its territory. I don't know what he's looking for, but there was a bad feeling. Footsteps stopped in front of the bookshelf. My heart suddenly clenched. The sound of rummaging through sounded. He was rummaging through that pile of clutter. My fingers quietly gripped the corner of the blanket. His mind was racing through calculations. He finds his phone. What am I going to do? Suddenly the rummaging stopped. Air solidifies. I could almost hear my own heartbeat. Chen Qingqing asked in confusion, asking what this was. I knew he had noticed. Then I suddenly opened my eyes and sat up. He happened to see him holding that spare phone in his hand. The screen was still lit with a red dot for the recording. His expression shifted from confusion to shock. Then it becomes pure therapy. It took only 1 second. Silent on your recording. He screamed and lunged forward like a mad mother beast. I didn't have time to hide. His nails grazed my face directly. It hurt hot. I grabbed her wrist. Two of them wrestled with each other, although she was a girl. But at this moment it was like he had gone mad. The strength is amazing. We bumped into the headboard. The counterlamp fell to the ground. It shattered all over the ground. There is too much movement. Her parents were quickly awakened. Father rushed in. Saying this scene, without a word she shoved me away. I hit the back of my head against the wall. Stars flashed before his eyes. You dare to hit your sister? I held my head. He said, panting. I didn't hit him. It was he who moved first. Chen Qingqing had already gotten up from the ground, was still clutching the phone tightly. He ran behind his father. It was as if he had found a powerful backer. He pointed at me and shouted hysterically. He secretly recorded the video. He recorded all of us. My father's expression changed instantly. He snatched the phone away. He looked down at the screen. Face became more and more ugly. The veins on his forehead bulged. Excellent. Hello? Oh, you're really great. He slammed his phone the ground. The phone screen was shattered, but the fuselage is still there. Stomped it a few more times, until that phone completely turned into a pile of scrap metal. I looked at my phone that had been crushed under the step, but he wasn't worried at all, because the video had already been uploaded to the cloud. This phone is just a shell, but I didn't show it. Instead, he wore an expression of despair. It was as if the last lifeline had been pulled away. My mother also rushed over. After seeing the situation clearly, his face turned ashen. This self-provoking wolf wanted to call the police. They want to send us all in. Chen Qingqing. He definitely wanted to post the video online. Just like when I was exposed. My father didn't hesitate. Gave me another slap. My face instantly swelled. Taste of blood at the corner of his mouth. Let me tell you, Chen Mo, this is not over today. Just stay there quietly. Don't think about going anywhere. Dare to call the police. Dare to post online. I break your leg. He hurriedly cursed as he left. Before leaving, she even reminded her mother to keep an eye on me. Mother stood at the doorway, coldly looking at me. Xiao Mo, you have disappointed Mom so much. We do it. It's not all for this family. Why don't you understand? Come on, reflect on yourself. Also left. The door was locked again from the outside. This time he moved something to the doorway. I heard the sound of chairs moving. Only I and the mess on the floor remained in the room. I leaned against the corner, touching his swollen face. They thought they didn't know their uncle was already on the way. No one knew the video had already been uploaded online. They think that destroying a phone will solve everything. Little did they know the real storm was just beginning. Time continues to pass. The sky grew brighter and brighter. I heard birds chirping outside the window. Around 6 o'clock, I heard my father's phone ring. Then came his panicked voice. Who posted this online? Then came the mother's sharp scream, and Chen Qingqing's crying. The whole house was in complete chaos. No, the video is going to explode. I don't know how long it took. Maybe half an hour. I heard a knock at the door. The knocking was loud. It was very urgent, accompanied by shouts. Open the door. Someone here is holding a hook. My father's voice echoed in the living room, flustered and guilty. Whoa. Who held the hook? What about old Chen? Don't panic, hide that kid. Just say he's not home. I listened in my room. Sneer. Eden, where to hide? The knocking grew even more urgent. Open the door, otherwise compulsory measures will be taken. My father finally couldn't take it anymore. I heard the sound of the door opening. Then came a chorus of chatter. I couldn't hear the exact details, but you can feel your father debating at the school, trying to smooth things over in the explanation. A few minutes later, the obstacle outside my room door was moved. 2 uncles in uniform stood at the doorway. The first time you saw me, his brows furrowed. One of the younger uncles walked over. Are you Chen Mo, the reporter? I nodded. He looked at the scars on my face and the swollen corners of my mouth. He glanced again at the messy scene in the room. His expression became serious. You're hurt. Who hit me? Father. Her father's voice came from the living room. It's a household chore. What's wrong with me scolding my own son? Housework. Illegal detention, restricting personal freedom is a domestic matter. We received the explosive channel. He said some people were locked at home by their families and couldn't go out. A video was also received. Z for yourself. This is called a family matter. His tone was gentle and gentle. He handed the phone to his father. Screen played the video I had recorded. The scene of my parents and Chen Qingqing rummaging through my things. Chen Qingqing's madness when she tore up the notice. My father's face instantly turned pale and miserable. My mother's legs went weak. He almost collapsed to the ground. Chen Qingqing hit in a corner. Messy hair. The eyes are empty, like a bug's crushed under the feet. Chen Mo, can you go? We need you to help us make a record. I nodded, then stood up. Stepping on debris all over the ground, I walked out. Passing by my father, he suddenly reached out to stop me. Uncle pushed aside with a single stroke. You are now suspected of unlawful detention and intentional injury. Be honest. Father's hand froze in midair. His expression was as if he had swallowed a fly. Angry and scared, but helpless. I didn't look at him. He walked straight out of the door. Behind him came the sound of his mother's crying beat. Silence. You can't do this to us. We're your parents. You do it. Let's learn how to be good people in the future. I stopped. She turned to look at him. The voice was calm. You stopped treating me as human for a long time. Now it's your turn to taste this feeling. Mother was stunned. It felt like meeting me for the first time. Chen Qingqing suddenly rushed over. Chen Mo, you'll regret it. I won't let you go. You wait. I looked at his sullen face. Chen Qingqing said calmly, you remember well. From today, kindness is severe. Then I turned and got into the J car. After finishing the statement at the police station, it was already noon. The police told me, based on video evidence and your injury condition, the father is suspected of intentional injury and illegal detention. Will be dealt with according to the law. Reaching as far as Chen Qingqing, destroy other people's property. The notice letter was issued by Xingren from the school, but it is considered personal property. He must also bear corresponding legal responsibilities. So what about my admission letter? Can it still be reissued? This one. You need to contact the school to inquire. They will help you provide relevant proof. I nodded. Say thank you as you walk out of the police station. Sunlight was dazzling. I stood on the steps, squinting at the sky. It felt like a very, very long nightmare. Now I finally woke up. The phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. I picked it up. A familiar voice came from the other end. Jiao Mo, is that you? Are you okay? We saw the video. His voice was urgent. There were also voices from others in the background. It must be because all the roommates are here. I'm fine. It has been reported. The enforcers brought me out. That's great as long as you're okay. Gao Yang's voice rang out. That's great, brother. We were worried to death. Where are you now? Do you need us to pick you up? No. I smiled and said, hung up the phone. I stood where I was. I thought for a long time about what to do next. The ID card was taken by the father. The notice was torn up by Chen Qingqing. I am penniless now. There is nowhere to go. But I didn't panic at all, because the hardest step has already been taken. Rest were just some formalities. I can go to the school to explain the situation and reissue the notice. You can go to the police station to reissue your ID card. You can apply for student loans to pay tuition. These difficulties can all be resolved. The only thing that can't be solved is the poison of the original family. Now I have personally removed this poison. I went to the police station to get a temporary ID card, then used the little money he has left. Bought a train ticket at Tsinghua or Peking University. Forced to sit for more than 10 hours. I don't care. By the time I boarded the train, it was already evening. The setting sun streams through the train window, and wine sits in my seat. I leaned against the window, watching the scenery rapidly retreat outside the window. A sense of ease and freedom surged in her heart like never before. So this is what freedom feels like. The train clattered forward with a clang. I closed my eyes and fell asleep. This is been the case since then. I slept the most soundly. No nightmares. I didn't wake up. There was only a long and gentle darkness. When I wake up, the train had already arrived at the station. At New Taipei Station, I dragged my simple luggage out of the platform. In front of them was a strange city. High-rise buildings. The traffic was busy. It was completely different from that isolated small town. I found the cheapest hotel to stay at too. Then start contacting the school to explain the situation. The admissions office teacher was shocked after hearing about my experience. He said he would help me as soon as possible. Let me not worry. 3 days later, I received the reissued admission notice. Brand new red cover. It's exactly the same as the previous one, but the meaning is completely different. I stuck the notice to my chest. Standing at the school gate, C2 looked at the plaque that read Bayan University. Suddenly his eyes grew moist. 12 years have passed since I can remember. I was left in the countryside, neglected, treated as invisible. I will live in Chen Qingqing's shadow for the rest of my life, be her forever stepping stone. But now, I stand here, on your own, standing at the entrance of the nation's top universities. There are no more people dragging me down behind me. My life, from this moment, it truly belongs to me. First day of school. I met a few roommates I met online. Bai Jing is tall, dark skin. It was obvious he was Gao Yang, an athlete. Wearing glasses, gentle. He was a student recommended for competition admission. There was also one named Guo Kangwo. Not very talkative, but seems very reliable. First thing they said when they saw me was, "Grip, grass. You are the Chen Mo in that video." He looks much more handsome in person than in the video. Ah ha ha ha. What handsome. The wound on his face hadn't healed yet. Gao Yang leaned in and took a good look at my face. Frown. Guo Kang said nothing. Bruises. It's ruthless. But silently she took a tube of ointment out of her bag and handed it to me. Swelling reduction. I took it. He warmly said, "Thank you," in his heart. That night, the four of us sat in the dorm and talked for a long time. They asked me how the matter went. Law enforcement is still handling it. The exact results are still unknown. It's not easy for you. Bai Qing cursed. What parents? Guo Kang still didn't talk much, but he poured me a glass of water. Later, the topic gradually shifted. Let's talk about professionalism. Talking about clubs and plans for the 4 years of university. Topics that ordinary college students should talk about. I suddenly realized this is what a normal life looks like. This is what an 18-year-old should look like. That night, I was lying on the bed in the dormitory, listening to the roommates snoring one after another. Looking out at the moonlight outside the window, I remembered Grandpa's festival. I remembered what he said. Studying is the only way out for children from poor families. I called Yi Grandpa's day. I did it. Grandpa's day. I'm already at school. All is fine. Alright, great, really, something's going to happen. There is a future. I didn't tell him what had happened, afraid he would worry. Just say, the school is very large. It's beautiful. The food in the cafeteria is also delicious. He was very pleased to hear it. Let me study hard. Don't think about him. He's in good health. Hung up the phone. I lay back down in bed. I thought to myself, when I have the ability, I must bring Master Ji to my side. Let him live a good life. This is what I owe him, and the only family member I want to repay from. College life began to unfold steadily. Military training clubs, busy with salary yet full of resources. I studied desperately participating in various competitions. Want to prove yourself. I also want to make up for those lost moments. A month later, I received a notice from the police station. The father was charged with illegal detention and intentional injury. He was sentenced to 3 months of detention, probation for 6 months. The mother, as an accomplice and subject, was administratively detained for 15 days. Chen Qingqing was accused of damaging someone else's property. Subpoenas and compensation for losses were issued. The sentence was not severe, but for them, that's enough. Because of that video, completely ruining their reputations. Settle down at work. The company dismissed him for disgrace. When my mother went out, neighbors pointed at and gossiped. Aunt, raise your head. Chen Qingqing was even more so. His name Bao Jing became a joke online. 751. Plus the notice of tearing out my brother's notice. These two incidents weren't enough to kill him for life. I heard he later suffered from mental problems. He was sent to see a psychologist. What is the specific situation? I do not know. I don't want to know. That was his own wisdom. They tried to contact me. Phone calls and text messages are included. The content was nothing more than a plea for my forgiveness and begged me to withdraw the lawsuit. Please delete the video. I ignored it. Later they probably gave up, and then there was no further news. That past was like a tuna I had locked away. I don't plan to open it again. Day by day the child passed by. Freshman second year. My grades have consistently ranked in the top 3 of my major, received a scholarship. 2 papers were also published. Everyone said Chen Mo had a limitless future. I smiled modestly, but deep down he knew. These achievements were all earned with my life. Every late night, every time I was exhausted, all to get a little farther from that quagmire. During the summer vacation of my junior year, I went back to my hometown to visit Grandpa. He is many times older. My hair has become even more hunched, and all of it is self-suffocating. My spirits are still fine. Saying me, I was as happy as a child. I sat with him in the yard, just like when I was a child. He peeled peanuts for me. I told him about what happened at school. The sun is warm. The shadow of the locust tree is still in the wine. Time on the surface seemed to return to more than 10 years ago. Grandpa suddenly asked me, "Are you still in contact with your parents?" I shook my head and said, "No." He was silent for a while. Sighed. After all, they're your parents. No matter how poorly they do it, he's also the one who gave birth to you. Section by step. I understand what you mean. Some things can't be forgiven just by saying let's do it. They hurt me too deeply. Master Ji said nothing more. He just patted my hand. Grandpa won't force you. It's enough that you have your own ideas. As long as you are doing well, step by step, You'll be satisfied. That night, I lay on the earthen canbed of the old house, just like when I was a child. But his mindset was completely different. The insect chirping outside the window was still as noisy as ever. I felt especially at ease. This is my only home. Yeji is my only family. The others have long been dead in my heart. The year of my senior year, I was promoted to graduate school. He continued to pursue his master's degree at Tsinghua and Peking University. In time, I also received internship offers from several well-known companies. Everything is going in a good direction. On the day of the graduation ceremony, I stood at the school gate wearing my bachelor's gown. I asked my roommate to take a photo for me. Qingying is the plaque that reads Baian University. And 4 years ago when I first stood here, then I wasn't 4 years ago anymore. That boy covered in wounds. I grew taller. Having grown stronger, the gloom in his eyes was replaced by confidence. Those scars remain, but it had already formed a scar. No more bleeding, no more pain. It just reminds me of the paths I've walked. Aichinglu asked, putting his hand on my shoulder. Silence, son. What are your plans for the future? Start with graduate school. Then start working. Take the grandpa's festival over. That relationship is good. I'll treat you to meals in the future. No problem. That day, the 4 of us roommates drank a lot. We talked a lot about the past and the future. In the end, they all passed out drunk in the dormitory. Wake up the next day. My head was terrible, but inside, he was full. And so youth passed by. 4 years of university life came to an end. Next comes a new journey. During graduate school, I was even busier. Academic project, internships. There was almost no time to catch their breath. But I enjoy it, because every busy day, I just drifted a little further away from who I once was. The winter of my second year of graduate school. Yi Ji left. It was in his sleep. Walked very peacefully. No pain. And villagers called to tell me I am conducting experiments in the lab. The moment he heard the news, the test tube in his hand fell to the ground and shattered. I took a leave of absence. He rushed back to his hometown overnight. Pushed open the door to the old house. He saw a coffin placed in the main hall. Grandpa was lying inside. Wearing the navy cotton jacket I bought for him was a faint, almost imperceptible smile on his face. Kneeling before the coffin, she didn't cry out loud, but tears just couldn't stop flowing. The elders say they celebrate funerals. He said he lived for over 80 years on the grandfather's birthday, and his descendants will have a promising future. He passed away peacefully. He is a blessed person. I don't want any joyful funerals. I just want her to spend a few more years with me. Wait for me to work. Once he made money, he would take her to live in a big house in the city. Eat delicious. I hadn't had a chance to do anything yet. Why did she just leave? It snowed on the day of the funeral. I personally took Grandpa's ashes, buried on the hillside behind the old house. From there, you can see the entire village. You can also see that old locust tree. I stood in front of the grave for a long time, until the snow turns my shoulders white. I said, Grandpa, festival, just wait. I'll definitely make it big, let you be in heaven, and make you proud. The wind scattered my words. I know, he must have heard it. After dealing with my grandfather's funeral, I went back to school. Bury all your sadness deep in your heart. Study and work even harder. I want to succeed. I want to stand out. This is my promise to Master G's. It was also my own account. The 3rd year of graduate school, I graduated with excellent grades. The same time, I received offers from several top companies. In the end, I chose a tech giant. The annual salary starts at 500 yuan. For a child from the countryside, this is a figure you wouldn't even dare to dream of. First day on the job, I stood beneath that grand office building, looking up at the blue sky. Grandpa's day. I did it. After starting work, I rented a 1-bedroom apartment, clean and tidy, but the scale was not large, but my own nest. I put the photo of Jishe on my desk. Every day before going out, she would glance at him, say good morning to him, come back in the evening and tell him what happened today. Such eyes may seem lonely, but it's very reassuring. 3 years later, I bought a house in Dai'an, a 30-year loan. Monthly contributions are just over 10,000. The pressure is not small, but he carried it well. House is not big, 2 bedrooms, and 1 living room. But for me, that's enough. The day we moved into our new home, I stood by the window, looking down at the busy street below. Suddenly, I remembered many years ago, the boy locked in the storage room. That boy would never have dreamed of this. Someday, was able to own his own house in the city, having a decent job, have a few friends who truly connect with you, having a brand new life. That gave me the worst possible start. But I managed to turn it into a winning hand. That night, I drank a little by myself, facing the photo of Gigi. He called him Grandpa. I did it. Studying is truly the only way for children from poor families. It came out. The moonlight outside the window was bright, just as bright as that summer night many years ago. The night when Grandpa sat under the old locust tree telling me stories. It seemed just yesterday. His eyes lived peacefully like this. Work smoothly, occasionally hanging out with old roommates. Life is simple but fulfilling. Until that day, the calm was shattered. It was a weekend in my 4th year at work. I was reading at home. The phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. I hesitated, still picked it up. The other end of the line was an old and unfamiliar girl. Are you silent? Yes, may I ask who you are? The other party fell silent for a moment. Then he said something that sent a chill through my body. I am your grandmother. The word grandma was too unfamiliar to me. So unfamiliar that I almost forgot. He still had his grandmother as a family member. Xiao Mo, can you come to the hospital? Your mother, her. She can't do it anymore. I was silent for a long time. No words. My mind went blank. Grandma's voice was choked with tears. I know they have wronged you. She's your mother. She was left with only one breath. I want to see you for the last time. How could she be so open? Advanced liver cancer. By the time it was discovered, it had already spread. The doctor said it was just a few days. I leaned back on the sofa, looking at the ceiling, not sure what to say. It's been 7 years since that incident. I never saw them again. I haven't made a single phone call. No text message was sent. I thought we would never cross paths again in this lifetime. Unexpectedly, this was the turning point for their reunion. Grandma was waiting on the other end of the phone. I could hear her suppressed sobs. Sent me the address. Hung up the phone. I sat on the sofa for a long time. My mind was filled with a mess of memories. Those days locked in a room. Those nights when the writing was typed. That torn notice. Those wounds had long since scabbed. But at this moment, a faint pain remained. I can't go. This question bothered me all day. In the end, I decided to go. Not forgiveness. I just want to put an end to this past. The next day, I took a day off. Drove to the hospital. It was a city-level hospital. I followed the address my grandmother gave me and found the ward. The moment the door opened, I saw my mother lying in the hospital bed. She was so thin, she was almost unrecognizable. The face is sallow. Skin and bones. Hair is sparse and graying in gray. And that sharp-tongued woman from 7 years ago seems to be two people. If it weren't for Grandma being nearby, I could hardly recognize that it was the same person. Grandma saw me coming. Hurry up and stand up, holding my hand. Tears couldn't stop flowing. Xiao, Anne, there you are. It's good that you come. No words, just standing by the bedside. He looked down at the woman on the bed who was so shocked. Mother opens her eyes. His cloudy gaze fell on my face. Lips moved, make a faint sound. Xiao Mo. Is it Xiao Mo? Tears suddenly welled up in his eyes, melting away. It ran down her gaunt cheeks. He wanted to pick it up, but I have no strength. There you are. You are willing to come see me. I didn't respond, just standing there. He felt an unusual calm inside. No hatred, nor is there sadness. There was only an indescribable numbness. My mother spoke intermittently. The voice seemed to squeeze out from Nuzi's eyes. Xiao. Nine. Mom, I'm sorry. Years. Mom has always wanted to find you. I want to apologize to you. It's my mom who has no face. She coughed a few times. Her body curled up into a ball. Grandma hurried over to pat her back. I stood aside watching Rua, still unmoved. My mother gasped for a long time before she recovered. Continue. Mom has made many mistakes in her life. The one I'm most sorry is you. Biest. Since childhood, your sister left you in the countryside and didn't care about you. After that, Mom was a bit crazy. The more she talked, the more excited she became. Her body trembled violently. Grandma shouted anxiously. She told her not to say anything, but my mother seemed to have used up her last bit of strength. Staring at me, his eyes were filled with pleading and despair. Xiao Mo, you can forgive Mom. Mom knows she's not worthy, but Mom wanted to die before she died. I heard you call me Mom. The hospital room was eerily quiet. Only the monitoring instruments emitted regular ticking sounds. I looked at her, behind this woman who gave birth to me but never loved me. Looking at her current describing the withered draft, a very complex emotion suddenly surged in his heart. But I hated those nights locked in the storage room, the days of being treated as invisible, the moment your dream is torn apart by your own hands. Every scene is etched into his bones. But at this moment, standing here, look at this woman on the verge of death. I found that those hatred had long since faded. Not forgiveness, just doesn't care anymore. I spoke. The voice was calm. I don't hate you anymore. Mother was stunned. Her tears flowed even harder. I continued, but I couldn't do it either. Forgive me for asking if I can call you Mom. I can't, because over the years, I never had a place like a mother in my heart. Only Grandpa. The mother's body trembled violently. It was as if the last bit of strength had been drained. She opened her mouth as if to say something, but only broken whimpering sounds could be heard. Grandma was anxious nearby, took my hand and said, "Silence, just call out to me. Let him leave with peace of mind." I shook my head and turned to leave. When I walked to the door, behind him came his mother's hoarse cry. Mom was wrong. Mom was really wrong. I stopped. There's no looking back, standing for a few seconds. Then he pushed the door open and walked out. The corridor was very quiet. I leaned against the wall. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. The heart beats fast. But I have no regrets. I sat on a bench downstairs at the hospital for a long time. Smoked half a pack of cigarettes. Watching the people come and go. Some people went in crying. Someone came out laughing. But that's it. The phone rang. It was Grandma calling. I hesitated. Still picked it up. Grandma's voice was very tired. Don't blame Grandma for calling you here. Your mom really can't make it anymore. I know what they did before was wrong. But she truly regretted it. For years she has been thinking about you. Silence. I fell asleep. I stayed silent without saying anything. Grandma sighed, continuing with what happened back then. He hadn't had a good night's sleep. Your dad lost his job. I drink all day long to relieve my sorrow. After that, the two argued every day. Divorce. Your sister too. Short. This family was completely broken up. Silence. Don't blame Grandma. What's wrong with Shen Xingqing? Grandma was silent for a moment, then said not to mention it. That child is ruined. That incident back then was so idle, it was a huge rumor. He was mentally shaken. Later it became more and more serious. He's doing well in a psychiatric hospital right now. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. I didn't feel much about it. Hardly satisfying. And I can't really call it sympathy. He just felt that karma was nothing special. Xiaomo, I know you have resentment in your heart, but your mom really doesn't have many days left. Can't you go see her? Grandma, can't you go see her? I'm here. I've seen her. That's all I can do. Grandma cried on the other end of the phone. You kid. Why are you so stubborn? It's not that I'm stubborn. My heart has long been broken by them. You should ask them. How did they treat me back then? Grandma fell silent. After a long while, he finally sighed. Okay, Grandma won't force you anymore. You have your own life. As long as you get well, that's enough. Hung up the phone. I sat on the bench for a while longer. Then he got up and drove home. 3 days later, my grandmother called again. Tell me my mother is gone. As he left, he kept chanting my name. After hearing this, I said I understood. Asked when the funeral would be held. Grandma said it was the day after tomorrow. I told her I would go. Hung up the phone. I stood by the window, looking out at the night view. Couldn't quite describe how he felt. A bit of congestion, but more than that, it was liberation. The woman who gave birth to me is dead, but I don't feel the pain of losing my mother. There was only a feeling of dust settled, like a book. Finally, I turned to the last page. No matter how bad the content is, at least it's over. The day of the funeral, I went dressed all in black, standing among the crowd looking at his mother's portrait. Her appearance in the photo, it was still the same as it was 7 years ago. At that time he was not yet ill. A sharp smile appeared on his face. Not many people came. A few distant relatives. Grandma and Grandpa. There was also someone I didn't expect to appear. My father has aged a lot. Gray hair. The back is also hunched. Saw me arrive. His eyes flickered for a moment, as if he wanted to say something, but in the end, nothing was said. He simply lowered his head and continued burning the paper. I ignored him either. They simply followed the procedure to offer incense, bowed, and then stood in the corner. Grandma came over and took my hand, whispered, Xiao Mo, it's good that you're here. Your mother's spirit in heaven can rest in peace. I hummed. No more words. After the funeral was arranged, guests gradually dispersed. Only a few relatives remained in the mourning hall. My father was still kneeling there burning paper offerings. The firelight reflected on his aged face. I looked at his back. Suddenly it felt somewhat unfamiliar. This is my father. That man who was once lofty and aloof. The man who punched and kicked me. Man who locked me in the room. Now, kneeling here, like a dog that has lost its home. He probably sensed my gaze. Turn around and look at me. The eyes are red. Lips moved. Xiao Monzania. I didn't respond. Just looked at him quietly. He stood up, come towards me. His pace was a bit chasing after him. When he stood in front of me, only then did I notice he had a strong smell of alcohol on him. Xiao Mo's dad is sorry to you. All these years, Dad has been trying to find you. I want to explain to you, but Dad has no face. Your mother is gone. Dad doesn't have many years left in his life. Can you forgive Dad? I looked at him, looking at this man who once made me hate to the bone. Now he stands before me, humble like a dog. I spoke. The voice was calm. You know, Mom, when I was a child, I always wondered about one thing I couldn't understand. Why do other people's parents, they all love their children, but my parents treat me like a pile of praise? Later I thought about understanding myself. It's not that I'm bad. You are the ones unworthy of being parents. Father's face twitched. It was as if someone had slapped him hard. You asked me if I can forgive you. My answer was the same as what I told him. I don't hate you anymore. I won't forgive you either. Father was stunned. Her tears flowed even harder. He reached out to grab my arm. I dodged it, and from now on, we have nothing to do with each other. You pass yours. I have passed mine. Birth, aging, sickness, and death are unrelated. This is the last time I will see you. After saying that, I turned and left. There is no looking back. Behind him came the sound of his father's crying beak and Grandma's call. But I keep my ears in check. Step by step, they walked out of the morning hall. I walked out of this place that made me breathless. After getting in the car, I started the engine. He drove onto the highway back to Qingbai. The night was deep. There weren't many cars on the road. I drove the car, but his mind was filled with many thoughts. Abandoned in the countryside for 12 years. 6 years have been treated as invisible. At 18, she was locked in her room. The notice was torn apart by her own younger sister. These events replayed in my mind like a movie. Me at 29. In this city, you have a house, a car, and a career, living a life I once dared not even dream of. And what about them? My father lost his job. Poverty and poverty are over. Mother died in melancholy. Shen Qingqing went crazy. This home which once wanted to trample me underfoot, completely falling apart. This is not my revenge. This is their own karma. Halfway through, I parked my car at the service area, standing in the night, breeze looking up at the starry sky. Suddenly, I remembered my grandfather. I remembered him sitting under the old locust tree telling me stories. I remembered what he said. Studying is the only way out for children from poor families. Grandpa, I'm coming out. I have become the person you have hoped for. His eyes grew a little moist, but I didn't let the tears fall. Just took a deep breath. Get in the car and keep driving. 3 a.m. I'm home. Take a shower. Knee on the bed, looking out the window at the sky gradually brightening. He felt an unprecedented sense of relief in his heart. Those grudges and feelings are strong. Those tangled loves and hates. From now on, it has nothing to do with me anymore. I can finally let go of the past completely. A new life has begun. A year later, I was promoted. He became the youngest supervisor in the department. Salaries have also doubled. That same year, I met a girl. His name was Xiang Wan King. He was a designer from the neighboring department. Looks beautiful. When she smiles, her eyes curve like crescent moons. We met through a collaborative project. It is familiar when it comes and goes. Knows about my past, knowing those painful memories to recall. But he didn't look at me with any strange eyes. Just listen carefully. Then he said something. Those things weren't your fault. You've done a good job. At that moment, somewhere in my heart. It felt as if something had filled it. We are together, dating and cohabiting. Then came the proposal. On the day of the proposal, I took her to her hometown, going to the grave of the joints. I knelt before the grave and introduced her to Gigi. Introduce him to Gigi. Grandpa, this is my girlfriend. Her name was Jiang Wangqing, and she was very good. Jiang Wangqing stood nearby. The eyes are red. He also knelt down and kowtowed 3 times to Gigi. It was very windy that day. The wind rustled the wild grass in front of the grave. I always felt like Gigi was responding to me, saying, okay, my grandson is going to succeed. When I was 32, we got married. Wedding was not large. Only a few close friends and family were invited. All the old roommates have arrived. Bai Qing even became my best man. He drank too much at the wedding. Leaning on my shoulder, I spoke of silence. I'm so happy for you. You finally made it through, kid, I said with a smile. He had made it through. A year later, Jiang Wanqing became pregnant. 10 months later, our daughter was born. I named her Chen Nianqi. Nian means to yearn for you. Sai means kind, and Sai is meant to commemorate Grandpa. The moment he held his daughter, suddenly I started crying, a feeling I hadn't experienced in over 30 years. So this is what blood ties are all about. So this is what it means to be needed. So this is home. I looked at the little one in my arms. I thought to myself that I would definitely be a good father. Never let him go through everything I have been through. I want to give her the best love, the best protection. Let her grow up in the sunlight. You never know that darkness still exists in this world. Jiang Wanqing lay on the hospital bed. A weak but happy smile asked what I was thinking. I said I was thinking about the luckiest thing in my life. It's just that I endured those hardships. Then met you. Reach out and hold my hand, say he is too. Window. The sunlight shone just on the 3 of us, warm and bright. At that moment I suddenly felt all the suffering I once endured was worthwhile because of them. That made me who I am today. It taught me to cherish. It allowed me to meet the person I was meant to meet. Gave me this home of my own. Vater owes me. I took it back myself. And even more, never give up on yourself, because he didn't know what would happen after enduring it. What kind of scenery awaits you?